applicants. So for those who've applied from the province of Ontario, specifically to the Faculty of Arts and Science. If you've are a 105, you've applied from outside of Ontario, that's fine too. But this live stream will particularly focus on Ontario/101 applicants. So before we get to your questions, we just want to update you on a few things. Number one, U of T does 3 rounds of offers for 101 students. So the first round will go out next week. You will hear potentially with a decision in our February round, like I said, by next week. The next round will be March, and the final round will be in May. So 3 different rounds of offers. If you don't hear by next week, don't panic. You're going to be considered for the next 2 rounds, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Be sure to submit all required documents as soon as possible. So for most of you, the work is done for you. Your guidance counselors will submit your transcripts on behalf of the OUAC, so that's great. There are a handful of programs that might require supplemental information, and there'll be a deadline for those, so you would have received information about that. Or if you're applying to something like the ONES program, the deadlines will vary, and you will get notification regarding that as well. And just try to upload documents when possible and not send them multiple times, because that just slows things down. So just once is enough. And if you've mailed anything in as opposed to uploading or having your school send it through the OUAC, it can take a few weeks for it to appear on status check. So please be patient. Keep checking status check for updates, and you'll see those reflected in the coming weeks. So let's get to your questions right away. And one of the first ones we have says, hi, I'm a little confused about the colleges in the Faculty of Arts and Science. What exactly are the colleges responsible for?
Okay, good question. So U of T has 7 colleges, and every incoming student will be a part of a college. So your college is going to just really be your home base on campus. So that's where you'll find all your resources, such as your registrar. If you need help in a math course, they'll have a writing center there for you. So really that's where you're going to spend most of your time. It's where you're going to live in residence. But what's important is that your program isn't tied to your college. So just because you're in Trinity College doesn't mean that you are limited to only participating in the programs at that college. You can be in any college and participate in any program that you'd like.
So a smaller neighborhood has nothing to do with what you want to study, just a nice way that the university breaks things down, and by being involved and engaged in your college, you'll probably meet a lot of people, a lot of friends through that college that you belong to.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So what is it like to be a life science student? Is it generally hard to do well in life science program first year?
No. As long as you go to class, I think it's really important for all students to take advantage of office hours. Go talk to your professors, talk to your TAs. That way, if you're sitting in lecture and you think, I'm a little bit confused about that, there are plenty of opportunities for you to go and speak to people and get some extra help, extra explanation. Just, it kind of helps keep you on course.
Yeah, so the university has a lot of great resources to ensure that you do succeed. But the onus is on you to, if you are, as Aslan said, struggling, to go to the various resources, talk to your professors, your TAs, the writing centers, the Academic Success Center. There's a lot of different ways that we're here to help you to ensure that you do succeed. So some students will find the transition smooth, easy. Others might find it challenging and a bit of an adjustment. But as long as you're proactive in seeking out that help if you need it, you'll find there's no shortage of support here. So do take advantage. All right, what's almost a guarantee / safe average for humanities? What's a safe average also to get into a program like Rotman Commerce?
Okay, so for humanities, we tend to look at students who have averages in the low to mid 80s. So as long as you're kind of around that, you want to keep it definitely around that range, then you should be okay. Rotman Commerce is going to be a little bit higher because they're quite competitive. So you're looking high 80s for that program.
And there's a supplemental application for Rotman
Yes.
Commerce as well, which will include essay, video, and something else.
I think it's just essay and video.
Essay,
yeah.
video. Okay. And will there be an orientation regarding course selection during the summer? So that's a great question. So once you're admitted, what happens in the summer to prepare students before classes start?
So your college will be in constant contact with you, letting you know what things are available for you to participate in, including course selection. Colleges know that course selection can be a little bit stressful for students as you're going through trying to figure out what you want to take, where your interests are. So your college will be there for you every step of the way to kind of help you through that process.
Okay, great. So someone is asking about pending review. So they're referring to their status check on the Join portal. Does pending review mean my application is currently under review?
Yes. So either you're going to be reviewed very soon or you're currently under review now.
All right. Yeah. So just keep your eye on that. You'll see updates in the coming weeks. As we said earlier, there's 3 different rounds of offers. So if you don't see an update late next week, it means you're going to be considered for the next round, which will happen just next month. And then, of course, the final round, which will take place towards mid to late May. When do you choose your specific program in whatever arts and science faculty you applied to?
Okay, that's a very good question. So your first year is going to be pretty general. You'll take a lot of first year breadth requirements courses. And then at the end of your first year, that's when you can apply to get into your specific program of interest. So some of them will have different requirements. So it's definitely important that you look up whatever programs you're interested in to make sure you're taking those prerequisites. But again, your college will hold information sessions closer to the time to kind of guide you through that process.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there a different admission average for full-time private school students in Ontario?
Another good question. No. So we weight all averages the same regardless of the school system that you are in.
So whether it's public or private, everyone's
considered the same.
Great. Okay. Are our applications slightly tarnished if we have some courses from private schools?
No, again, we weigh everyone the same regardless of whether they're coming from public or private school, or maybe they've done a bit of time in both. That is fine.
And even if you did summer school, night school, same?
Yep, that's all weighted the same. There's no penalties for taking courses in summer school or night school.
Right, as long as we just like to see that on your homeschool transcript if possible, and as long as it's an accredited school.
Yes, exactly. You want to make sure it's approved by the ministry, but as long as that's fine, then we're happy to take courses from those institutions.
Okay. Is everyone's application considered in the February round?
Yes. So for 101s, everyone is considered in that first round. We look at everyone the same, and then we send out offers to the students that we find are most competitive, and then we kind of go on from there in the later rounds.
Okay, so strong grade 11 and
Yes.
and equally strong first semester of grade 12 would increase your chances of getting
Yes.
that earlier or first round of offers. But as we've said, if you don't get considered for that round, don't panic,
No.
because we still make lots of offers in the next 2 rounds as well. All right. So this is a good question regarding the ONE programs. Where and perhaps when do we apply to the ONE programs for arts and science?
Okay, so the ONES programs are open now. Each of them have deadlines that kind of vary, and we will post a link to the ONES page so that you guys can go in and kind of read through and apply to whichever one you're interested in.
So there's a general website just for the ones that then breaks each one of them down, an explanation, how to apply, when to apply.
And again, kind of like your program choices, your college does not restrict you to a ONES program. So you could be in St. Mike's and apply for the Trinity One program if you wanted. So that, again, you're not restricted to your college in regards to the ONES programs.
Great. So if there's something that appeals to you that's hosted at, say, Victoria, but you happen to be a university college student, no problem.
No problem.
You can absolutely do that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do you consider marks only, or do you factor in things such as class average or if the marks are inflated.
So we just look at marks only.
Right. So that's easy answer, unless it's Rotman Commerce, where there is a
Yes.
supplemental application.
Exactly.
But other than that, for the vast majority, or pretty much everything,
Yeah.
it's just your grades
Just
that we're
grades.
looking at. But doesn't mean that you shouldn't be involved in extracurriculars, although that's not considered in the admissions process. It's great for you to be involved and engage in your high school and be well-rounded, because we want you to do that once you get here, because we will track your involvement here through our co-curricular record, which you in turn can present that to a grad school or employer and say, look at all the things I did while I was a student in university. And it's much easier to stay on top or be involved once you get to university if you're already used to it from high school. If you do nothing in high school and then expect to be involved here, that'll be a quite the challenge. So
Yes.
keep being involved. It's a good thing. It's only going to help you. And even in the case of our medical school, for example, they will look at things that you've done from high school. So it's never a waste of time, even though we don't consider that in the admissions process. All right. For an international student, if I already passed the English language requirement, will the university still look at my English for You mark?
Okay. So yes, if we have asked you to provide your proof of English facility, so like an IELTS, a TOEFL, something like that, and if you present that to us and you've passed, then we won't include your English for You mark in your top 6 marks.
We'll just replace it with something else.
Yes.
Okay. For Rotman Commerce, how much is the supplemental application worth compared to the actual grades?
So they are weighted equally. It's quite important for you to fill out that supplemental application, get it in on time, because it's looked at individually by assessors, and they do put quite a lot of weight on that supplemental.
Okay, great to know. I've been admitted into the mathematics and physical sciences program. Is there anything else I have to complete other than the awards profile and the MyRes sheet?
Good question, and no. So in arts and science, the only program that requires a supplemental application is Rotman Commerce. So any other program, you're good.
And so maybe for those that don't know, what's the awards profile and when is it due to complete that?
So the awards profile, I actually can't
Is it
remember
this
off the
Friday?
top of my head.
The 17th, tomorrow? Producer Catherine says yes, we believe
Okay.
it's tomorrow. Okay, so we'll double check that, but we're
Yes.
pretty sure it's due tomorrow. And what is the awards profile?
So the awards profile, you can fill that out, and then it means that you can be considered for the scholarships that are available in that list.
So yes, so it is indeed February 17th. So yeah, the awards profile is scholarships. It's a chance for you to fill out one application that will allow you to be eligible for several different scholarships. So if you are competitive, and the scholarships are competitive here, so realistically you want to be I would say high 80s and above to consider filling that out. If you're lower than that, it's not likely that you would get a scholarship. So don't. I mean, you can, but you
Don't
don't
be too disappointed.
exactly. So just to set the give you a good idea of where our scholarships fall. They're quite competitive, so if you're a high 80s student, sure, by all means, fill that out. One central application, which will allow you to be considered for all of those, or for a lot of our different scholarship opportunities here at U of T. Okay, so this is a question about what do I do if I am away when the portal is open, and essentially when students are, let's just say you're admitted in the summer, and you happen to be on summer vacation, and you're, what happens if you're away when it's your time to start choosing classes? I believe that's what the question is referring to.
Okay, so it is very important that you try and be at a computer for your start time. Choosing classes can be pretty competitive, and you want to make sure that you're getting into all the prerequisites that you would like. So what I would recommend, have a list of the classes that you want, and then have a separate list of backups just in case some of the classes you're trying to get into are full. it's pretty important that you try and be at a computer for that start time, especially if you're choosing courses later in the day, just because they will fill up quickly. And if you wait later on, there's no guarantee that you'll get into everything that you want.
So as long as you have internet access, you'll still be able to, and we're of course going to tell you when those,
Yes.
there are multiple times throughout the summer. It's not just one day or afternoon that you'll be able to choose classes. We divide first year, second year, third year, fourth year students up equally so that you will have different times and dates to choose. So yes, it's essentially a first come, first serve.
Yes.
So you ideally would like to be able to have access to the internet so you could choose those courses that you want, have your, as Aslan said, your first round draft choice and then your second. But the other thing to keep in mind, if you didn't get that, keep checking the system, because you'll find that spaces open up throughout the summer, and even especially when classes start. A lot of students might take a class and say, that's not for me, and drop it. And so if you stay on Acorn, which is our system for you to choose your classes, you'll see there'll be some fluctuation there and openings that happen the day before classes, the day of classes, and even the first few weeks into the semester.
Make
as
sure
well.
you stay on your wait list.
Yes, that's very good advice. All right, so you mentioned something about colleges having orientation in the summer. How should I go about getting this information if I will be away during the summer?
Okay, so kind of a similar thing. As long as you can, periodically get some internet access to check your email. Email is really the main way that your college is going to be communicating with you and giving you that orientation information.
So all the information will be provided to you. You just have to make sure that you stay on top of it so you know when that orientation is, when we're hosting things on campus, or if you're away and you can't attend it, there will be information posted on that college's website to give you the information that you would have received had you been there to attend in person.
Yes.
How do scholarships work? Are you informed along with your admission offer?
Okay, so for entrance scholarships, yes. If you were to receive an entrance scholarship, it would be detailed in your offer letter. But that's not the only place that you can get a scholarship. So there's the awards profile, which we talked about earlier, which you can fill out, and that will mean that you can be eligible for several different scholarships. But I would also encourage you to check out your college and your program of interest, because they will have scholarships specific to their students that you are most likely eligible to apply for.
Okay, if I am admitted to social sciences, in first year, would I be able to take courses in humanities as well?
Yes, definitely. So kind of how your stream works, the one that you were admitted to, you have priority access to the courses within that stream, but that doesn't restrict you from taking courses within the other streams. So you're not limited in any way.
Yeah, and first year is kind of nice because it's it allows you to be flexible. So you can take a variety of courses in different areas, see what you like, what you don't like. And it's not until after your first year that the university asks you to have a little more structure as far as what you want to double major in or specialize in. So first year is great because you have a lot of choice and you're not limited or bound to anything. You don't have to really get specific until after your first year. So that's a great thing. So there's been quite a few scholarship questions, and I'm wondering about scholarships. When do we receive scholarships? And was that range of marks that were given entrance scholarships for last year? Okay, so I answered that question. Yes, so typically your offer, once you get your offer of admission, you'll also be notified if you've received a scholarship. The averages that I was referring to were indeed from last year, but I was also, to be realistic, aiming a bit low because at U of T here, certainly on the St. George campus, you need to be in the 90s. And again, to be realistic, mid 90s and above is where the large scholarships tend to fall. So for example, and again, it does vary from year to year, so you can't come back and say, well, that guy on the website on the webcast said this, because it does vary from year to year. But to give you an idea, yeah, they're very competitive, and you should be in the mid to high 90s to be in that scholarship range. Are there some students that will receive scholarships lower than that? Yes, but nothing really lower than the 90s, to be realistic. So the President's Scholarship, which is valued at about $7,500, you realistically need to be mid to high 90s to be in that conversation. So that can be a bit deflating to some students.
It can.
But we want to be honest and realistic with you. The silver lining is, if there's still other options to receive scholarships, in the awards profile, that range is still going to be
Quite
around
high.
the same.
Yeah.
But we're looking at things other than just your grades. That's why we ask you those questions and how you answer those questions. So that's important. But also, we give away almost twice as much money when it comes to in-course scholarships. So those are those are the scholarships you could receive once you're here at the university. So that's where we really put a lot of our money. Yes, there are lots of entrance scholarships, but there's more opportunity once you're here. So if you continue to work hard, study hard, once you're at the university, you'll find that you'll have a good chance of winning scholarships each and every year that you're here, or being awarded scholarships, I should say. Okay, what types of research opportunities are available for life science students?
Okay, so there's quite a few. So we have a program which is called Professional Experience Year, which life sciences students are welcome to apply to. So how that works is between your third and your fourth year, you take a year off to work in the field of your interest, and then you come back, you finish up your degree, and a lot of the time students who participate in this program will have a job offer coming back to finish their year. So that's kind of nice, knowing that you can finish off your last year of university, not have to worry about what you're going to do afterwards if you're wanting to get into the workforce. We also have the Research Opportunity Program. So that allows students beginning in as early as second year to participate in the research of a professor. So they can kind of be a research assistant, help that professor with whatever they're working on. And that's a great opportunity for students as well.
Looks great on your grad school or job
It does.
application to be able to say that you did independent research while being supervised by a professor. So that's great. And the professional experience years, the opportunity, those are pretty specific though to
They are,
certain
yes.
programs. So
Certain
not
programs.
all life science students or even arts and science students will be eligible
Right.
for that.
So students who are interested in pharmacology, toxicology, and pharmaceutical chemistry, those are the main programs that you can participate in that program.
And some computer science
As well as Raman Commerce.
Right. And then engineers, which is
Yes.
if you're also have applied to engineering, they also will have the professional experience year opportunity. Okay. I've gotten into Victoria College and Life Science program. Can I still apply for the one program?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Yep. You still have time. Just check. As we said, there's the website. So just make sure you apply before the deadlines, because those
Yes.
will be coming up soon. Probably if they haven't already happened, they will be happening soon, later this month, or probably March would be the latest, I would think. We can check though to see what the. We'll see if we can find it exactly, but it could vary from each program. Not all the ones have the same deadline, I believe, so we'll double check that for you. Okay, what is the advantage of participating in the one program?
Another good question. So the one program just gives you a little bit more of a smaller kind of classroom experience. So it's more seminar style. It's a specific range of courses that you participate in. Each one is a little bit different, has a different theme. So a lot of students like it because it is a bit of a smaller pool of students that they're in class with.
And it's seminar style learning, so it's different than, say, a lecture where you just go sit, listen to the professor talk, take notes. This is more interactive, so
Yes.
you'll be doing a lot of the talking, and it's not just the professor who is speaking at you. It's very involved. So, and there's often different guest lecturers that come in for these one programs, for the seminar style of learning, smaller classes. So a nice transition from high school to university. They're very popular. So if you're interested in that, by all means apply to one. They're not mandatory, but the students that have applied for those and have done them have nothing but good things to say. Smaller class or classes, easier to meet people, and unique learning opportunities just for first-year students. All right, when do we receive acceptances for residents?
Okay, so this is a good opportunity to remind everyone that your residence application is due March 31st. And then you should be hearing probably within the next few weeks after that, as colleges kind of look to see where they're going to put everyone. You'll be able to fill out your questionnaire, learn about who you're going to be roommates with. So it's a very exciting time.
Yep, so we stay tuned, because once you're admitted, that information will be made available to you. Is it recommended to apply to the one courses, or is it better not to apply to them if you are likely to have a full course load?
Okay, I mean, that is really kind of up to you. It depends on what kind of style of learning you're interested in. If you are interested in having the experience of a smaller class sizes, kind of having more discussion with your peers, or if you're more interested in kind of the full lecture style, it just really comes down to what you think you'd be most interested in.
And they are competitive. It's
Yes.
So there's a separate application. So I would say there's no harm if it sounds appealing to you, apply for it. If you get in, great. If you don't, well, then you're going to go the traditional route. But there really isn't you have nothing to lose by applying. So I would say go for it. If it sounds appealing, once you've read through the different options, and if one of them really stands out, go for it. If I do not get accepted into the program I want, will I be given an alternative offer?
Okay, so that kind of depends. Sometimes we will give alternative offers to students who maybe didn't quite meet the requirements for the program that they wanted, but are still a competitive student. And then in that case, we will offer an alternative offer for them, but that is not always guaranteed.
Yeah, and I would say don't rely on that, because some of the, like Mississauga and Scarborough campus, they will do that more frequently than we do at the St. George campus. So yes, it can happen, but don't be waiting for that or expecting it, because it may not. That's just how it works. In second year, can I apply to a different specialization than I outlined in my application?
Yes, you can. You are definitely not restricted to the program that you indicated on your application. And that's one of the great things about having a general first year, is you can take a bunch of courses, and you might take something completely in a different area and you think, hey, that's really cool. I think that's what I want to get into. And as long as you meet the requirements for that program, you're more than welcome to apply to it.
Like Celtic Studies.
Exactly.
Did you know you wanted to do Celtic Studies from high school?
I did not. Nope.
There you go. All right. I have applied and been accepted for French, and was wondering if there are any French proficiency tests I'd have to take. If so, what are they, and when would I need to take them?
That is a very good question. Yes. So when you're signing up for your courses, to get into the French courses, you will have to take a proficiency test. It will be online. I believe you could probably go and find it now, but that I'm not too sure about. So that's something we would have to look into. But you will definitely have to take a proficiency test in order to be eligible to take the French courses.
Okay, good to know. All right, so under which circumstances could my offer of admission be revoked?
Okay, so when you're given an offer of admission, it's really important to read very carefully through that letter. It will outline all the conditions that you are expected to meet. Most of the time, it's grade requirements. We'll ask students to make sure that they continue to keep the level of the grades that they have now, you want to make sure that your grades don't drop below your current average, if that's the case. Really, the only time your admission will be revoked is if you fall below the average in your conditional offer.
Yeah, and in most cases we're not going to give you a specific average that you need to maintain. Some programs like Rotman might actually say you need to maintain this average to have your offer stand. For most areas, it's going to give you a general statement like you must maintain the average that you were admitted with. So yes, the best way to answer that is you have to keep studying, working hard the whole year through, because once we get your final grades, we are checking to make sure they're in or around what we admitted you at. If you drop a little bit, that's typically okay. So do not panic. Do not call or email us to say, I dropped 2%. Is my offer going to be revoked? No, it's very likely not going to be revoked. If there's a significant drop, then that would raise a flag and we would contact you to see what happened and why. So to be on the safe side, just keep working hard, do your best. If you drop a little bit, don't panic. If it's significant, then that could be a reason why we might rescind your offer. But it doesn't happen that often. There's just have been some small isolated examples of students that maybe got their offer and said, okay, I'm in university, now I'm going to slack off, maybe skip some classes and not focus. That's not a good thing. Those are some examples where a student might have had their offer rescinded. But just keep working hard, you'll be fine. Okay, what is the difference between the Trinity membership and the Trinity One program?
Okay. Trinity membership, I assume, would be being a part of Trinity College. So in that case, so the Trinity One program is a program that's run by Trinity College. Whereas if you're a part of Trinity College, then that's kind of where you're going to be living, working, eating for your 4 years. Whereas the Trinity One program will just be a year of classes that you participate in, and then that's it at the end of first year.
And it's completely optional. So the Ones program are a way that we have given students the opportunity to have smaller first year learning experiences, some unique classes, as well as we mentioned, they're a little bit more competitive. There is a supplemental application, but if that appeals to you, you can apply for them. If you'd rather not, you don't have to. So it's entirely up to you. But as we said before, your college, Trinity College, is completely separate from the Trinity One program. You don't have to be at Trinity to do the Trinity One program, and you certainly aren't forced or required to take those one programs. Up to you. But it's worth checking them out, doing a little research. If that sounds appealing to you, like I said earlier, why not think about it, apply for it, and then you can decide from there. Okay. Are there a wide range of study abroad opportunities?
Yes. That's one of the great things about U of T is that we have partnerships with institutions across the globe. So that's very exciting for students. You can do semester abroad, you could do summer abroad. There are so many different opportunities for you to go study at an institution in a different country, take in some of the sites. We can post the link to the Center for International Experience so that you can check out all the different opportunities that we have for you.
Yep, and the Center for International Experience is an office dedicated just to those study abroad or international exchange opportunities, so you can check them out early, do some research, see a country that you might want to explore as you're a student here. You can certainly do that now, or once you're you wouldn't do it in your first year, so you'll have time once you're here in first year to go to the office, pick up a brochure, go online now. They also have information sessions throughout the year. So I myself, I went to Siena, Italy when I was a student here. So I went to the information session, learned about the courses, when the payment was due, when you had to book your flight, all that stuff. It was very informative and helpful. Had a great time doing it, so I highly recommend taking advantage of the 152 different exchange opportunities that we have. I think producer Steve will verify that number. Okay, are there classes in first year that are large, for example, 100 plus students?
Yes. So this isn't going to be for all first year courses. It will depend a little bit on the program. So life sciences, for example, there'll be a few classes that are quite big. It'll be in our con hall, which is a cool building, and it's fun to have classes there. I like having classes in con hall. So there will be a few that are going to be over 100, but not all of your classes are going to be that big.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, you're not asked to declare your double major or specialization in your first year. So as you do that, as you get more focused and specialized in second year and beyond, so does everyone else, and therefore your class sizes tend to get smaller. So you can expect to see things get smaller as you progress. And if you take a popular first year class like psychology, anthropology, sociology, economics, those are very popular, and they will be in large lecture halls. They could be several hundred students in your lecture hall. But 65% of our first year classes have 50 students or less. And it really depends on what you're taking. Certainly if you're in one of the one programs that we've been talking about, those are capped at about 24 students or less. So you could have a couple of classes that are in large lecture halls, you could have some mid-sized classes, and then maybe one or two of those small classes that are capped at 24, whether it's through the one program, but we also have 199 seminar classes that are open to everyone. Again, those are capped at about 25 students. So we really try and give you the opportunity to have a variety of different class sizes, but it depends on what you're interested in. You be prepared for some large classes, but just know that everything gets smaller as you get more focused and specialized. And if you are really interested in having some smaller first year classes, there are those opportunities as well.
In those large classes, you're going to have tutorials, which means you're going to be broken down into smaller groups, and once a week you meet, you get to ask any questions that you might have had from lecture. So there will be an opportunity to be in a smaller setting with those large classes as well.
And if you are in one of those large lecture halls, often those professors are the best that the university has as well. They're selected very carefully, and students get to rate the professors, and based on the students' feedback, it's determined who gets to teach those large classes. So you're essentially getting the top professors who are teaching those. And I like to use the analogy, it's like when you go to the movie theater, you know, if you go and you walk into the movie theater and you look up, it's like, wow, there's a lot of people here. There's 2 seats up there. You go sit down. Once you're seated, you're watching what's in front of you. You're engaged in the film. It's the same thing like a lecture hall. You find your seat. Once that professor starts talking, you're engaged in what he or she is saying and on the PowerPoint behind them. You're not paying attention to the people around you. So you might find it intimidating the first time you walk into that class, but after that, you get used to it. And certainly, as I mentioned, those professors are the top, or tend to be the top professors that we have at the university. And I, you know, from my own experience, I tend to remember more, have fonder memories of those larger classes than the smaller ones, because those professors were that much, were very engaging, and I found them, it was easier to absorb with their style of lecturing. All right. So those are some great questions that we got tonight. Thank you so much. If we didn't get to your questions, you can certainly post on our message board. And the last thing we want to talk about is March break and what events are happening for students. Again, a chance for them to come on campus, ask some more questions, and kind of the final stretch as far as learning about U of T.
Yeah, so March break, we're going to be having general information sessions all week, as well as some specific program sessions. So we're going to be having an arts and science general presentation with a Q&A. There's going to be a computer science session, life sciences, humanities, all of that's going to be going on. So you can check that out online. The schedule will be posted, and we'll put a link up to where you can find that in the chat.
Yeah, definitely check out the link, because then you can see the schedule. And again, come on campus. If you haven't already done so, please come for a tour, learn more about us. Or if you've already been before, it's always a good idea to come back. And again, ask more questions, visit us at a different time of year, and feel good about U of T, and if it's going to be hopefully the right choice for you. All right, so on behalf of Aslan and myself, thank you so much for tuning in. We apologize for the technical difficulties earlier. Hopefully you got your questions answered. We have these live stream chats on a weekly or almost weekly basis, so just keep your eye on Join where you'll see what's coming up next. Producer Steve, what is the next live stream chat that students can look forward to viewing?
February 21st, 4 p.m. Ask a Recruiter.
So this coming Tuesday, February 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's just a general Ask a Recruiter. So any questions regarding arts and science, engineering, Scarborough, UTM, whatever faculty you're interested in, you can ask us those general questions then. All right, so thanks again for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time. Have a good evening.